My name is Valeri Barsegov. I was born and raised in former Soviet Union, and then at the age of 17 I moved to Moscow, Russia, where I got my undergraduate education in chemistry, Moscow State University. I graduated in 1994, then I immigrated to the United States. I went to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. That's where I finished my master's degree. Then from there I moved to Texas to get a PhD degree. I was in high school. When in high school I had this nice teacher, and he has inspired me quite a bit to do science and chemistry in particular. So he gave me a set of chemicals that I took home, and I was doing experiments at home. So that was in 8th or 9th grade. So my mother was complaining and things like that, but so I made all the sinks became rusty because I was putting chemicals out. So, but anyways, I was enjoying playing with chemicals, running experiments at home, and I think that promoted, then I decided to go to the university. I would say personal factor is a big factor. It's a huge factor in human's life. It depends on whom you spend your time with on a daily basis. That pretty much defines where you want to go, where you're going to go. I do biophysics. I do theory and simulation, so it's basically theoretical work, trying to run, as they say nowadays, experiments in silico. In silico means on the computer. So nowadays, computers allow one to study, diverse problems from biophysics and biology. One of the things that I'm doing, we're trying to study mechanical properties of proteins. For instance, we stretch them using mechanical forces. For instance, we can also, heat the protein, see what the kinetic pathways for thermal unfolding, how it denatures, basically. We can look at the mechanisms, what are the underlying structural determinants, things like that. And recently we started to do research using graphics cards. So graphics cards, up until recently, have been used by basically teenagers on to play video games. But scientists realized very recently, maybe 2-3 years ago, that one can utilize graphics cards to perform scientific calculations, numerical calculations, molecular simulations, etc. So that's one of the things that I'm doing. It depends on how old you are. If you're 30, then the fact that you can, solve a difficult problem makes you happy. When you're 40, the fact that you can get a big grant, a lot of money, maybe, and then pay your graduate students and your postdocs so that they can do science, that's what makes you happy. At the age of 50, I don't know, I haven't lived that far. But, it depends on your age. When you're 20, you're trying to, you're reading a paper, and it's a Feynman paper, for instance, and you understand it, and then you say, wow, I'm smart, I can do this and I can do that. But then the time changes. You come to your 30 year, when you're 30 years of age, and then something else, makes you interested, makes you excited. At my age, I'm 40 years old. I'm trying to find ways to support young guys to do science. So I'm trying to identify them, bring to the United States, and try to find money for them, so that they can. That's basically my job right now. When you're a graduate student, you're doing work. When you're a professor, then you find money for graduate students to do work. If I have another life, well, I would try something different.
Oh, yeah.
Just for a change, I don't know, an airline pilot, I don't know, or become a, do geography, travel to different countries.
Wow.
Maybe do biology or, animal biology, something like that, Look, I think one of the ancient Greeks, I think Aristotle or Plato, he said that some people came to this life to sell Some people came to this life to fight. Some people, these are soldiers and businessmen. And some people came to this life to contemplate. These are scientists. So we're all different, you know. Somebody cannot do science, and some, you know, for instance, I'm not a good business person or salesperson. And although I've been to military, but you know, I don't want to be a soldier. So I think the thing that I enjoy the most is to contemplate, think, etc., reflect reality into, you know, into scientific forms, you know, things like that. That's my pathway. Well, it seems to me that Japanese students are A, respectful, B, very knowledgeable, well prepared, at least that's my impression, and eager to learn new things. Well, I think it's pretty useful, I would say, to bring Japanese people, to bring Japanese students to the level of English that they need to have in order to, you know, freely read literature, you know, use the World Wide Web, you know, draw resources, you know, in publicly available resources, published, you know, because it turns out, I mean, as it stands now, the science in the second half of 20th century and 21st century is pretty much English speaking. If you look at the amount of scientific papers published in English-speaking journals, in English journals, like in journals in Britain and then in the United States, if one wants to do science, one has to be well versed in English. One has to be freely speaking, you know, understanding, etc. And you know, when I was learning my English, I learned it at the age of 24. I had a very nice teacher, and she used to tell me that you know, I have to learn things myself. She said, "I'm not going to teach you English, but I'm going to teach you how to learn English yourself." That's what she told me. And she said, don't forget one thing, that is, English is speaking, listening, writing, what else? Hearing, you know. So she said, if one of these things is missing, then the rest are going to suffer. So if you want to develop your skills, then we have to develop all of them at the same time, so that they will synergize in a sense. So that's, you know, that's my advice to Japanese graduate students. If they want to do science and advance in science, then they should be better speakers.